All right. Well, gentlemen, I've got my Gryffindor tie on. I've got my Burrow candle burning here.
Excellent.
Nice.
Excellent.
Anton, it's the season 10 finale of Why Wasn't It Better?
Goodness gracious, here we are. What else would we be covering but some Harry Potter?
Right. Although pretty soon we are going to run out of Harry Potter films to cover. But we've been covering them as season finales for so long now. That's right. We're returning to Hogwarts for what is considered one of the strongest books in the series, Harry Potter and the HBP, that's short for Half-Blood Prince. And we are, of course, talking about its 2009 film adaptation. By the time this movie arrived, Harry Potter as a film series was a juggernaut at the box office. 6 films in, the tone had grown darker, the stakes were higher, and the story was finally moving towards the end game that would be the showdown against Voldemort in the Deathly Hallows. And by this point, 2009, all of the books had been published. Deathly Hallows was published in 2007. So this was, I think, this would have been the first movie where we actually knew how the series was going to end. And the book, Half-Blood Prince, it is something of a pivot point in the saga. It's part mystery, it's part coming-of-age story, and it is part detective novel as Harry and Dumbledore investigate Voldemort's past and uncover the secret of the Horcruxes. But we're not talking about the book, we're talking about the film. We're going to put ourselves into the pensieve and revisit the mysterious potions textbook of the Half-Blood Prince to ask the question, why wasn't it better? And joining us for today's discussion is a return guest, Jake Valkusky. Welcome back.
Welcome back,
Thank
Jake.
you. Thank you. Great to be here. Always enjoy these, especially the season finales, Harry Potter. I love it.
Yeah, pretty big deal. Have any fun updates for the audience?
Well, I think last I spoke about was our newborn, and now he's walking.
Wow.
Yeah.
A
Hey.
lot's happened since Interview with the
That
Vampire.
is a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. Yep. He's walking, and now it's a whole nother. We're back in the same mindset of when our first one started walking, and now we have to make sure everything's closed and locked and chase him around, and so he doesn't try to get to the cat food and the cat water.
Well,
It's fun.
congratulations. That's some great milestones for you guys.
Yes. Thank you. It's fun. Love watching him grow up.
Love it. Yeah, my daughter is not far behind that. She'll be walking, who knows, any day now.
Same
Exciting.
with mine. Any day now.
Yeah, it's definitely exciing.
And
You gotta
scary.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
Well, because it's the walking, and then is that straight into Quidditch?
Yeah.
They make
Seems
rooms
like
for
that.
kids in the books. It's canon.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, we know what we
Gotta
have to look
say.
forward to.
I got to say, these Harry Potter candles are wonderful. I wish they would sponsor the podcast. The Burrow candle smells like baked bread.
Ooh.
Tremendous.
Sounds good. Sounds real good.
I sent you one as a gift, Anton.
Yes.
I hope you still cherish it.
I've been lighting it very consistently.
Jake, I feel like you'd like the Malfoy Manor one. It's like black cherry.
Ooh.
Quite pleasant.
That does sound really
I
nice.
should bring that out for when we cover Deathly Hallows, because that's where we get to spend some time at Malfoy Manor.
Be very fitting.
Have either of you tried the Harry Potter Jelly Belly beans?
Birdie Bots flavored beans?
Yeah, well, yes.
I have.
They have a game for it. It's an integration with the game Bean Boozled. Have either of you tried that?
Yes.
Yeah. It's been playing that recently. It always puts me in a Harry Potter mindset, but those jelly bean flavors are pretty disgusting.
They are true to the name.
They have some weird ones.
Yeah, they're
Like just one is literally straight up called vomit.
Yep. And earwax.
not unlike the poop brown color palette of the film we're about to discuss. So there's a little intro for you.
There we go.
Anton, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to read our promo before we intro this.
Sure. Let's go.
Let's switch it up. Let's get it out of the way now. We want to thank everyone for listening. If you are liking the podcast and you haven't done so, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please follow us wherever you're listening, whatever platform you're getting your pods on. We encourage you to leave comments as well. You can follow us on Instagram, X, and best of all, Letterboxd. You can see our full list of films that we intend to cover there. And of course, if you really like what we're doing and you want to throw a few bucks our way, we have a Patreon. You can get access to episodes a week early, ad-free, plus some bonus content. And with that being said, I'll intro this for us. Harry Potter and the HBP was released on July 15th, 2009 by Warner Brothers Pictures and Heyday Films. It was directed by David Yates. The screenplay was written by Steve Kloves. It is, of course, based on the novel by J.K. Rowling. Starring Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, Alan Rickman, Michael Gambon, Jim Broadbent, Tom Felton, Maggie Smith, Robbie Coltrane, and Helena Bonham Carter. The budget was $250 million. That is $377 million adjusted for inflation. And the box office was $941 million. That is $1.42 billion adjusted for inflation. It has an 83% Rotten Tomatoes score. Jake,
Oof.
as the guest, this should be obvious because you're a huge Harry Potter fan, but why'd you want to talk about Half-Blood Prince?
I mean, as it's doted, the book, fantastic. Movie, it was good, but it definitely has a lot of things that need to be discussed. Overall, was it entertaining? Sure, absolutely. But some of the choices and just some of the going-ons with the movie and leading up to the movie, very interesting.
Couldn't have said it better myself. You ain't kidding. There's stuff to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
All three of us are fans. We read the books. We saw the films. This is certainly not my favorite film. I love the book. I love all the Harry Potter books, but this is up there for me in terms of just how it sets things up for the Deathly Hallows. I have to say, Anton, when I saw this in the theater, though, I don't remember disliking it. I kind of thought at the time, like, oh, okay, like, I didn't love it, but I remember just being excited for the Deathly Hallows that was coming the following year, and I was willing to overlook some of the deficiencies in this. But what about you?
It was 2009, right? So we're in the middle of the Great Recession. So I think everyone's just trying to be a bit more of an optimist at the time.
Maybe, yeah. That's a good way to look at it.
Like,
I didn't have any money to begin with in 2009, so I was like,
yeah, I'm just gonna look forward to Harry Potter films. I remember, like, honestly, like, that was my mindset at the time.
Yeah, it's the hype, and obviously the first time, when you watch a movie, unless it's horribly bad, it's entertaining and it's fun, and plus, following the books and just the whole Harry Potter film series, you're hyped regardless, and it's you just kind of put away the bad until you start dissecting it later on and rewatching it.
It made a lot of money. Wasn't like it suffered at the box office. All the films printed money. But I have to say, amongst Potter fans, this film is certainly maybe the least favorite. It could be Goblet of Fire, take your pick. But this is always one people bring up as like, this is where it kind of stumbled a little bit. So here's the thing. $941 million, not even close to being the highest grossing film of 2009. Do either of you remember what was?
It was...
Might be wrong, but maybe either Twilight?
No.
Or Dark Knight?
It was it became the highest grossing film of all time at the time.
Big deal movie. Was it a kid's movie?
No. The highest grossing film of all time.
Not
Still
Avatar.
Is. Yeah, Avatar.
Yeah.
Imagine making $900 million and it's like you're not even close.
Jeez.
But we'll get to the production history of this. But first, Anton, as we do, we have a theory, Jake, that all films can be connected via the sex life of the one and only Warren Beatty. And we do have a less than 6 degrees of Warren Beatty's sex life here from Maggie Smith.
It's efficient.
Very much
okay.
So. Maggie Smith starred in California Suite with Jane Fonda, who very famously had sex with Warren Beatty. She famously thought he was gay until they had sex. Oh, Warren. Production history for this film. David Yates directed the previous entry. And when he ultimately was brought back for this, but it initially wasn't a done deal, Anton, prepare to get sad. Alfonso Cuarón said that he wanted to return, but did not. I don't know why, but he didn't. Guillermo del Toro passed on this in order to direct Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. I think everybody lost there. I'm not saying Hellboy 2 is a bad movie, but who's talking about that 20 years later?
Just the cult fans.
Yeah. I just want to remind everyone, David Yates was the 5th choice to direct Order of the Phoenix, and he somehow ended up directing the entire back half of this series, plus the 3 Fantastic Beasts films. I think that says a lot.
It says too much.
Cookie cutter stuff. It was reported that Daniel Radcliffe and Rupert Grint were at one point hesitant to return. I looked this up. There are sources for this in like Entertainment Weekly. They were reporting this, that they might not return. I have no idea how that would have worked. Emma Watson also considered not returning. She cited the fear of being typecast, and she eventually decided that, quote, the pluses outweighed the minuses, end quote, and she could not bear to see anyone else play Hermione. I assume by pluses she just meant large pay raise.
Yeah,
Probably.
she's out of all of them, she's probably, well, her and Radcliffe, they've been able to bounce back from Harry Potter acting wise.
He's had a really nice post-Potter career.
Yeah, exactly. They've both been able to bounce back.
Yeah, now I haven't seen her much recently, but that doesn't mean anything, I guess. What do I know? Young Tom Riddle was played by Hero Fiennes Tiffin as a child and Frank Delane as a teenager. Yes, he's related to Ralph Fiennes. Helen McCrory appears as Narcissa Malfoy, Draco's mother and younger sister of Bellatrix. McCrory was originally cast as Bellatrix in Order of the Phoenix, but she had to drop out due to pregnancy. And they remembered her and they cast her in this role. Bob Hoskins auditioned for the role of Horace Slughorn, but Jim Broadbent ultimately secured the part. I have to say, Hoskins would have been amazing.
Would have been pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Anton knows my dream for this role, which is that in the future, when we go to heaven, we're able to see any movie with any actor you want in any role. And I would have loved to have seen Orson Welles as Horace Slughorn.
That would have been good.
That'd be fantastic. And also very fitting, especially for the book description.
100%. Looks like a walrus. But just imagine Orson Welles speaking that magnificent baritone. He would have had to do an English accent, but it would have been worth it. Talking about Felix Felicis. I took it on 2 occasions, and let me tell you, they were the 2 luckiest days of my life. I like how he doesn't go into details. It just leaves you up to the imagination in the book of like what he did.
Yeah.
It's pretty hilarious.
I gotta say, pretty good self-control from Slughorn, because he, it's making Felix Felicis is very difficult, and he obviously could have made it and used it kind of as often as he wanted to, and he only did it twice. Remarkable self-control.
So he said.
Or so he said, I was going to say.
I think he was telling the truth. I don't know. He seemed like a pretty jovial guy. Slughorn seems like a cool hang, if you like to drink.
Oh, for sure.
I do like how this film, pretty much any scene when he's not in the classroom, he's drinking.
He's very British. Yeah.
Very much so. And by the way, Broadbent did a great job with this. I just think Hoskins would have been fun. Before filming began, there was belief that filming might move out of the UK, whereas all previous films were shot, but that ultimately did not happen. Principal photography began in September 2007. It lasted until May of 2008. They expanded their use of CGI sets, particularly the interior of the cave. And you can tell it looks like shit.
Yep.
Very, very obvious CGI going on.
Yeah, it's pretty egregious by this one.
Yeah. The exterior of the cave was filmed at the Cliffs of Moher on the west coast of Ireland. Nicholas Hooper, who composed the score to Order in the Phoenix, he returned for this. Warner Brothers spent $155 million to market and distribute the film. And I wanted to point this out to the both of you. This cost $100 million more than the previous film, and it is by far the most expensive film in the series at $250. So Deathly Hallows also cost $250, but they split it between the 2 parts. So all in, they spent over $400 million to get this to theaters. Like, geez.
Well, you can see where the money went.
Can you?
It was all in it was all in Fenrir's face.
Jake, were you going to say color filters?
Yeah.
We've decided to spend $100 million on poop brown color filters. Every scene will look like it's dipped in tea. And when we get to the cave, we're going to film it in black and white. Why? Because we can.
It was at this time every movie cover looks exactly the same too, by the way. Looking at this film, a lot of major films at the time, it's just very drab, monotone.
We'll talk about it.
Brown.
I'm not like exaggerating, right? Like it is poop brown.
It is. It really is.
All right. Well, let's talk. Why wasn't it better then? And as a matter of fact, Anton, we are going to start with the visual style and the cinematography.
Yes.
I don't know if either of you know this. Of all the films in the series, this is the only one that was nominated for Best Cinematography at the Academy Awards.
Yep. Which is wild.
Baffling. Absolutely baffling. Now, I want to give the cinematographer some credit. His name is Bruno Del Bonal. He's a very accomplished director of photography. The blocking is very good. There's a lot of interesting angles, and I think a lot of the scenes are blocked and framed well. Would you at least agree with that?
Yes.
I think so.
Anton's, he's like, I don't know.
I think maybe for the major set pieces, I could see it.
Yeah, but he used defocusing. No problem with that. Warner Brothers asked director David Yates to add more colors to the film. I wonder
It's too
why.
dark.
Yates did not want to lose what he called a, quote, very European look. And of course, after retouching the picture, he said, quote, "It's not what you wanted, but we're happy with it," end quote. They were inspired by the paintings of Rembrandt when they were filming this. Now, I can see that having, I'm a fan of Rembrandt's work. I have a number of his paintings, not originals, in my home. It is so jarring, though, compared to the rest of the films. I think they would, correct me if I'm wrong, they toned it down a little bit in Deathly Hallows. I think they recognized how out of control this was.
Absolutely, yeah. They brought it back.
I'm looking at what was Rembrandt's most famous piece.
Well, that's a good question. There's probably a number of contenders. I certainly see what they were going for, because Rembrandt did a lot of like dark tones like that. It's really dated the film. Jake and I have talked about this ad nauseum. If you watch the first two films in the series, and then I think we can throw Prisoner of Azkaban in there, they shot it pretty straight. It's very colorful. It's very pleasant to watch. This is such a stereotypical thing that movies were doing in the 2000s. I think they were already doing it in the early 2000s, and then the Zack Snyder stuff, I think, really accelerated it, and a lot of other films started doing this. It was totally out of control in this.
Well, even if you look at the top 10 grossing films of 2009, whether or not it's in the full film, you see a lot of that influence in just most of them. There's a lot of, like, I love Sherlock, but there's definitely a lot of scene with color palettes a bit similar to this film. Absolutely. A lot of influence can be drawn from the Twilight Saga. New Moon came out that year, and there's a lot of parallels with how that film looks and what we're seeing with this film. I don't remember watching Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel, but I wouldn't be shocked if there was a bit of that in that.
I distinctly remember seeing this film in the theater. Jake, we may have seen this together. I don't know.
Possibly,
and the scene in the cave, I thought there was something wrong with the projector because it's basically in black and white.
Yeah. It was very drastic difference.
If you didn't read the books and you had only seen this film, the color correcting on this is so out of control. Number one, you can't tell the Weasleys are gingers. It just looks like they have brown hair. Number two, when Harry meets Dumbledore at the tube station, you can barely tell his hand has been burned because everything is so dark.
Yep. Yeah. It does it loses some of that detail in that style.
And stylistically, if they're really trying to put it on nose of, it's a darker film, so we're going to have a darker tone, sure. I just don't think it looked good. And it really did age the film. And it's amazing to see there's a lot of parallels, or at least even to today's technology, you can basically imitate these shots with Instagram camera filters.
Yeah. One more thing. There's also like some of the exterior scenes that are supposed to be outside. You can't even tell, is it dawn? Is it dusk? Is it the middle of the day? Everything's just so tea-colored. Sepia tone?
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, there are still some spectacular shots in this film.
Yeah.
During the cave sequence when Dumbledore's controlling the fire and you first see the fire from Harry's POV underwater, like it's spectacular.
It's pretty intense.
That was cool, yeah.
That whole sequence in the cave was probably my favorite.
Yeah. Despite the black and white, like it is, they certainly nailed the tension of it.
Yeah, 100%.
I want to give Yates credit for that.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting choice.
Was it the right choice?
No.
I don't think so. Anton, I have an Oscars in memoriam thing for you.
Okay.
I know that you're big into this.
I am big into that.
So during the latest telecast, when they did the in memoriam, they mentioned Stuart Craig, the production designer on this film. He was the production designer on the entire Harry Potter series. He received a few different nominations for his work on these films. He is a 3-time Oscar winner. Gandhi, Dangerous Liaisons, and The English Patient. He had 8 other nominations. So that's
big films. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I would say, despite the CGI, as usual, the sets in here are great looking. The locations, it's always been one of the best things about the Harry Potter series. They always get that stuff right.
Yeah. Keep that gothic architectural style.
Yeah, I mean, they were smart about it too. Like the whole time they would film at real, obviously real castles all across England, and then the sets were pretty seamless, and you were never really able to tell I don't think ever watching the series once, unless it was CGI, I never once felt like you were on a set.
Yeah. This one, I think, didn't they return to that cathedral, Gloucester Cathedral?
They may have, yeah. Yeah.
Which is cool. It's nice that they did that, and obviously it helps with keeping the correct locale and look and everything.
Number 2 reason. Tone shift. Turning it into a rom-com. I was watching an interview with David Yates. He was talking about how he saw this film as an opportunity to see how the cast could do comedy. Okay. You're like, okay. I don't know where you're going with this. I don't know exactly why this decision was made, because the films have always had great humor in them, but they upped the humor considerably. I just can't believe they let this guy direct the entire back half of the series.
I wonder if he tried implementing a laugh track at some point too.
Well, it's a few of the jokes and the gags that you get on screen, you can tell that, or especially having read the book, a lot of what was added is like directly from this directive of let's make it funnier. And it's gross. It's like a really dumb example from my perspective is just Ron falling off of his broom. You have to be able to ride, right? So to even just be there, it's just a dumb visual gag that undermines Ron, although Ron has always been a bit of a punching bag.
A little bit. And look, for the record, the books have great humor in them. It's not like, actually the books are like genuinely funny.
Yeah, of course.
And there's nothing wrong with adding humor, but the decision to make this, to focus on the comedy. And by the way, this movie is really funny. Every time I watch this movie, I laugh at all the stuff that's said, that happens. It is genuinely funny, but at what cost?
Yeah, and it detracts from one of the most emotional films or emotional books in the series, and translating that to what could have been an emotional core in the film series.
Yes. Yeah, I think they focus too much on that and trying to implement more of that rom-com, and adding in the comedy and taking away more story points that could have definitely helped this movie.
Completely. And, with respect to David Yates, I'm not saying he's a bad director, but Anton, to me, he's like the John Glenn of the James Bond series. Competent, workmanlike, nothing special. He did what was asked of him. Get these films out in the most workmanlike assembly line manner possible. He succeeded at that. But it is disappointing to me when they went out of their way previously in this series to hire an auteur like Alfonso Cuarón, who was willing to come back at one point. And they just made a decision at the production level that we're just going to go with essentially yes men. Like, you just think about a film like this, like what could have been if Cuarón had come back? This would have been so much more interesting. And again, there's plenty of stuff in here I like, but we can get into it more. But how do you? Am I being harsh on Yates? Like, how do you two feel about this?
Jake, as our guest, please go first.
I think that you're being too hard on him. I think that at this point, he definitely tried he took a lot of risks, which is great, right? Nothing wrong with that. But I think it got to a point where it was too many and too drastic, where some of the decisions, they didn't need to be. Like, his other implementations could leave it at that, right? And especially, like you're saying, Alfonso, I think it would have been great to have him back. And I think it could have still been as good, if not better. I think that some of the choices that he's been making, or he made rather, didn't really fit too well.
Now, I suppose we could give, or how do you feel, Anton?
I mean, I would just say that David Yates, I don't want to downplay his achievements, especially in like television. It's, essentially why he was even looked at for the role, right? Because of his huge impact and influence with the different television series that he directed. And history has gone on to like write things like he's received critical acclaim for his direction in the Harry Potter series, which I think is very, I'd argue with that. I don't know if I'd necessarily say I love what he does, but I think what I interpret a lot of the films with, like, especially this film and future films in comparison to previous directors and their approach, is I think it really is the approach. previous directors were brought on for either having a distinct style, being known to work with kids. And I think that there wasn't enough of a deep appreciation for how to translate this very respected series successfully, or enough attention to detail that I would have maybe expected with a director like Yates.
And I mean, you said it right there too, is that sure, he does a lot of great things for television and series, but like that's not what this is. It's, it's very different.
Yeah. Now, we can't blame him for the storytelling, all the storytelling errors, right? He didn't write the screenplay for this. And I'm sure all three of us have a bunch of stuff to say about this film's screenplay. The director's biggest responsibility, though, is tone. And his decision, just seeing this as an opportunity to make this more of a comedy, it just tells me he either didn't care or didn't understand the source material.
Yeah, and I think I hate to think he didn't care, but if he didn't care, we have to also acknowledge the producers didn't care and the studio didn't care.
Well, I'm going to repeat this later, and again, this movie's funny. It has really funny performances, but Voldemort isn't in this film, right? Even though he is fully returned to power by this point, by well over a year. The Second Wizarding War has begun. People are disappearing left and right. The Ministry is on pretty shaky grounds. A lot of people are worried, right? There's not a lot of tension in this movie. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, in Order of the Phoenix, you had all the stuff with Umbridge, and the Ministry was not supporting Harry. In fact, they were trying to discredit him. And you really felt the threat and the tension of what that represented. But you don't have anything like that in this film.
No, and that goes back to the whole instance of focusing on the rom-com.
Now, on the positive, we get a wonderful performance from Daniel Radcliffe. This is my favorite performance of his in this series, just because of how fun. We always knew he was funny and sarcastic, but they really let him flex here. And he's tremendous.
Which is interesting, because he thinks it's his worst.
Yeah, he was going through alcohol struggles at the time during filming, which I can understand why he feels that way. I always forget about some of the stuff he's doing during the Felix Felicis scenes. The thing where he does the pincers.
Yeah.
And all the stuff he's saying to Slughorn. What does Slughorn do? He's like, Harry, and he's like, sir.
Yeah.
It is great. It is great stuff. And then in the same sequence, though, he has to get super vulnerable when he's convincing Slughorn to give up the memory. It's a really difficult switch that not a lot of actors could do. And he nails it.
Yeah, you do feel that. You definitely feel him getting to that level and opening up more, and definitely a different light.
I mean, I was just really contemplating and thinking, where does this fit from like a coming of age perspective and fitting in the series within that scope? I mean, Harry's already gone through so much. You could argue like the whole thing is a coming of age experience, but this really was like a very big step for him in his development, like in his development from teen to like growing up really fast, and capturing that on screen is difficult.
It is. He definitely matured as an actor throughout the series. He was a little stiff in the first couple films, but by this point he had so much confidence. The whole cast did. And if you just want to judge this as a comedy, it's successful. It shouldn't be judged that way, but you could. And then of course there's other ways you can come of age, which Ron experiences, because Ron's got some game in this film.
Ron's got
surprisingly
a bit of game.
A little bit, yeah. Or maybe the game comes to him. We could say that too. Lavender Brown pretty much throws herself at him.
Well, yeah. If Lavender spent a bit more time with Ron, allow Ron to like open his mouth, then she'd be like, actually, I don't find you that attractive anymore.
Right.
He would have to do a lot wrong for that to go south.
Right. Perhaps I misspoke. He doesn't. Maybe he doesn't have game.
Ron puts the Ron in wrong.
Oh, Ron. I feel like we don't talk about Rupert Grint on these Potter podcasts enough. I mean, he just doesn't get any of the attention of the three. I think he's really good.
He deserves all the praise for his portrayal. Like all the praise.
I agree. I mean, people crap on him, but my argument for it is like, these films don't work if he's not part of the chemistry.
Right.
They just wouldn't work.
Yeah. He does it well. And he's definitely underrated for his parts in it. I think he portrays it well, and he absolutely does what's needed for the scenes that he's in.
Yeah, if people want to clown on him for being the goofy sidekick best friend of Harry Potter, let's remind ourselves he is who we think of as the goofy sidekick for Harry
100%.
Potter. And he
100%.
is Ron Weasley.
Yep. He does it so well.
One of many Weasleys.
Yeah.
But I think maybe a lot of people do also look at, if we're going to give credit to Radcliffe and Emma Watson for being able to move on from their careers, I don't think Rupert Grint has been quite as successful, at least on the big screen.
No. Has he even tried? Is he?
He's been in a few much smaller
Right.
roles. I don't think he's the kind of actor that gets approached for lead roles, to be fair.
No, definitely not.
But
maybe he's fine with it. I'm pretty sure all three of them are generationally wealthy from these films.
100%.
He was in an M. Night Shyamalan film,
No, was he really?
Knock at the Cabin.
Well, nothing to say about that.
Yeah.
And he was in Cabinet of Curiosities, which was interesting.
Was he good in it?
It was a series. I'm trying to, I remember watching it, but I don't remember much from it, but it was definitely kind of cool. I don't think he did bad, but I don't think it wasn't necessarily like a caliber that needed to be blown away based on.
That was a super fun series on Netflix. I don't remember which one he was in, but I'm going to have to check it out again.
Yeah. It was definitely a unique series.
Yeah. Are you familiar, Pat? It's
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, well, it's Guillermo del released a horror anthology miniseries on Netflix. And,
a miniseries? Oh, I could check that out.
Yeah, and each one features very, very I love.
Oh wait, I think I have seen one or two of those.
Yeah, it's the casts are super fun, very wide range of A-list to B-list actors to some actors you haven't seen in a long time. Really great stories. Some of them adaptations of classic stories, some H.P. Lovecraft in there. It's really, really cool stuff.
Noted. We love you, Rupert Grint. Keep doing your thing.
Keep doing your thing, man.
Emma Watson in fine form here. She's great as usual. This was important for her character too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the love triangle.
Smart. Yeah, she's very smart.
Very smart. Yeah, very smart. You know, this is she was starting to get attention from elsewhere too. You know, Ron had to, you know, if Ron hadn't had a change of heart, who knows what would have happened.
Yeah.
There's a lot of jokes we could make that we won't.
Yeah. I mean, at the time, as a high schooler, I didn't have a crush on Hermione, but I knew a lot of people that were Potter fans in my friend group that were.
You did not?
No.
You're more of a Ginny fan?
If I remember correctly, I probably had more of a crush on who did I have a crush on more so in the Harry Potter series when I was younger?
I don't know. You think about that and I'll keep going.
I have to get back to you on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the other big part of this film and the book too is the developing romance between Harry and Ginny, which I guess satisfied almost no one in the end. I mean, I think as Potter fans, we've all come to begrudgingly accept it.
Yeah. I wasn't the only one that reading that was oh, come on, really?
I remember there's this one line in Half-Blood Prince where even J.K. Rowling was clearly trying to force it when she says something, or she writes something along the lines of Harry had always thought about Ginny. It's that no, he had not.
I mean, there was occasions where
it was his friend's sister, though.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what makes it rough. It's I don't think that's what was always on his mind.
Yeah, I think that from the fan fiction standpoint, one of the relationships that I always thought man, that could have had legs and would have made the story really interesting. Again, this is fan speculation. Draco Hermione.
That would have been weird.
That would have been, but would have taken the series in a very different direction.
A very different direction. He would have never done that though, because she's a mudblood.
But that's the thing. That's called character development.
Speaking of slurs.
Speaking of,
I wanted to bring this up because I don't know if Jake and I have talked about this on the pod, but we have offline. Animagus sounds like a racial slur, right?
Yeah,
it does.
We've joked about this.
Oh, we have. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
okay.
we can't say that word too fast.
Right. It is tricky when you sound it out in your head. You're like, wow.
Yeah, definitely isn't.
It's funny too. They don't do it in the films, but if you recall in the books, Bellatrix, when she is speaking about Sirius, She refers to him as the Animagus Black
Yeah.
for whatever reason. It's this like little detail in the books. You're like, wow, like
Okay.
why? Like she was like, I'm sorry, master. I was fighting the Animagus Black. It's like, okay, wow. You didn't have to go there, Bellatrix. Like, I know you're evil, but geez, racist too? He's your cousin.
I think we joked about this before. Like, what is the real world equivalent of mudblood? Like, how bad is it as a slur? It must
has
be
to be
really
like the
bad.
N-word, right? I mean, because
Yeah,
like
it has to be bad.
characters in the book react to it very strongly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's definitely extremely down-putting, which you can see.
Right.
I mean, you're telling them, oh, you're not as significant as somebody that's a full witch or wizard, right? Like it's
right. Well, that's the whole Voldemort experience, right?
Yeah, but then I just think about someone like Harry just hearing the word for the first time. He's like, "What's a mudblood?" And everyone else on the train's like, "What did he just say?"
Oh, you can't say that! Oh my god!
Ron elbow, dude, you can't say that,
dude.
Although calling someone a half-blood sounds bad too.
That's
like
probably just another layer of it.
If you said that in real life to someone, like you might get punched in the face.
Oh yeah, real world.
Yeah, real world. I guess if you called someone a mudblood too, even if they didn't understand it, they wouldn't react well to it.
If they didn't understand it, you're just calling people mudbloods.
Well, if they didn't know about the Harry Potter part. If you just call someone a mudblood, they're not going to take kindly to it.
No.
Speaking of racists, let's talk about Draco Malfoy, because he really becomes a three-dimensional character in this film, and Tom Felton really gets a nicely expanded role here. We get to see just how good of an actor he is. He was, the hateable bully throughout the series up until this point, but we learn a lot about Draco in this film, much more in the book, but Felton's incredible. I think he really gets the conflict that his character is suffering from well. You really see it in his face. He doesn't have a lot of screen time in this, but he really does well with it.
Yeah, he has to do a lot of acting with his facial features, with his eyes. Does a great job.
Yeah.
He's still got an okay career too, I think, right? I've seen him in other stuff post Potter.
He's the biggest thing I saw him in recently. It was him jumping back into the Potter world, but stage play playing an adult Draco.
Yeah, which is great to see.
Yeah, which is awesome. I'm like, that's someone leaning into what made him successful and probably doing a bang good job on stage.
Yeah, the scene on top of the astronomy tower where he's disarmed Voldemort, or he's disarmed Dumbledore, his back and forth with Michael Gambon. I mean, frankly, I think he acts circles around Gambon, who, I mean, I have criticized on this podcast many a time. It's like he's on Xanax.
You're not the only one that's criticized, Gambon, unfortunately.
How disinterested does he look in every single scene?
Extremely.
It's my Dumbledore.
It's unreal.
Which is a shame, because, I mean, like, you just want to really like Dumbledore, but yeah, he kind of makes it hard in some instances where you're like, dude, really? It's just
I think it's a downright bad performance. We were talking about this on the Order of the Phoenix episode last season, Jake. Like, Gambon admitted he never read any of the books. It's like, come on, man. Like,
man,
like, really? You didn't pick up one of the books?
At least just try.
Like, at least pretend.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, I read all of them. Sure.
Well, it's not even like it's obscure.
Right.
I think it's just really frustrating. I mean, that is one of really the clear weaknesses that is so crucial. The chemistry of Dumbledore's character with all of these pivotal characters in the story, let alone Harry. And I am curious with the upcoming series. We do have John Lithgow as Dumbledore.
And I know Lithgow will put the research and the work into it.
Yeah, so I feel like it'll be a bit of a redemption.
Now, obviously, when you're adapting a movie, not everything has to be just like the book. I understand that. But Dumbledore is such an expressive, kind of like, not goofy's not the right word, like a slightly whimsical character in the books. He's much more animated and expressive than he is in these films.
I've always interpreted a lot of how he should be portrayed as very aloof. And I feel that, we just don't get enough expressiveness.
Aloof, but he's got a really quirky sense of humor in the books, which is really enjoyable, especially with Harry. You know, he makes a lot of like self-deprecating remarks
Mhm.
that I just wish I mean, if Gambon had put like 10% of that into his performance, it would have been much better off for it. But like he's talking about stuff in this film, like really serious stuff, like he's ordering breakfast. And when Harry asks him about the ring, he's like, difficult to find, more difficult to destroy. It's like someone gave him Xanax in his coffee every morning. It's just lazy.
Yeah, I think he was definitely the weaker of the Dumbledores.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. But, I mean, it's at the same time, you can argue that, okay, well, you know, the predecessor was just so hard to live up to, but I don't know, give more of an effort. You never know what could happen, right? I mean,
You'd think. The newcomer here, Jim Broadbent as Slughorn, doesn't look anything like Slughorn in the books. Doesn't matter. He's great.
Yep.
he
It's a
fits
really
it.
good job.
He does what you expect. Like from reading the books to seeing him, you know, in the movie, like it fits. You know, no complaints on it. I think he did a great job.
He's really funny. You really feel the guilt that he feels, you know, in inadvertently helping Voldemort. I love how they carried over. He's like slightly sleazy, you know, where he's like Harry catches him snipping the plants, and then he's just like, "Oh, acromantula venom." He's like, "You mind if I take some?" It's you can. He's like very interested in like side hustles and making money.
Oh yeah, yep.
Great character. One of the best like new characters that I think Rowling ever introduced to the series.
Played a great armchair too.
He did. It's such a great character introduction.
Yeah. That was good.
Well, you know what? I do want to give Gambon credit, and I guess it's the script too. When he asks, he's like, "Can I keep this?" He's like, "I love knitting patterns."
Yeah.
That's the kind of Dumbledore stuff I wish there was just more of.
Yeah, such an innocent comment and scenario, you know, but it worked. It was fun.
But you can tell Slughorn has like no idea like what that means. He's like, "Oh yeah, sure." Anything to add on that note? The tone shift before we keep going here with the next reason.
Now I think ready to jump into the next reason.
And this is probably the most damning reason why I think this wasn't better, which is deviations from the book. Now, I want to say this as a little bit of a disclaimer. We've talked about this on many an episode, Anton, where it's like when you're adapting a novel into a film, it is unrealistic for the filmmakers to adapt everything completely faithfully.
Right. Except
what I want to say about that is I am holding this to a much higher standard than your average book to movie adaptation. Harry Potter is not a normal book series. Outside of the Bible, we are talking about the best-selling, biggest literary creation of all time. This is a once-in-a-generation phenomenon with massive budgets and infinite resources. This is an absolute butchery of the source material, what they did in this film. This is a terrible adaptation.
Yeah. And if you're going to make an adaptation of something so great, why not just work with what is already great? Which is, we ask ourselves this all the time.
Yeah. Especially since, you know, Rowling has such a, like, hand in what gets produced. Like, you would think that she would have more say and disagreements with what was, you know, being presented.
By this film, I think she couldn't overhear things over her pool of money.
True.
I think that was part of it. Because I know, like, she was pretty hands-off. She would, like, give input here or there, but I think, yes, to your point, Anton, I think by this point, the wire transfers were looking good.
Yeah, she was just like, they're making another movie. Nice.
Great. Brilliant. I bet you when they told her, too, we want to make Deathly Hallows into 2 films, she's like, why not 3?
Yeah, she's at her chateau with her like solid gold phone and like future robot dog.
She has a Scrooge McDuck pool full of gold coins.
Yeah,
it's
I can see it.
You know the Scarface meme where they got the money counter,
yeah,
the cash counting machine. She's on the phone like 2 films, great. Yes, they didn't have to faithfully adapt everything, but the decision to deviate so much from the source material, it's like they really created extra work for themselves. They really wrote themselves into a lot of plot holes, and they didn't care.
And that's the worst part about it, is like that they didn't care, because when they do that, they have to realize, well, I mean, as we know, Gambon didn't read the books, but I mean, you know, they have to be like, well, this is, so many people are going to pick up on this. And it's not like this is like the first movie, right? Like they know the fan base is huge. They know that people are going to, you know, see holes in what's produced, but they're just like, meh, oh well. we want to make a rom-com.
Well, let's go through it, because there are so many screenwriting and storytelling decisions in this film that not only are not faithful to the book, they don't even make sense logically. So let's just go through the plot here, sort of like point by point. This film starts off, Harry is at a cafe just wandering around on the tube in London, and he gets picked up by Dumbledore, right? This makes no sense, which we can talk about in a second, but it robbed us of one of the best parts of the book, which Dumbledore shows up at the house at Privet Drive to pick him up, and the Dursleys are completely thrown off by him. You know, he conjures them some drinks that they don't drink and then ends up spilling all over them. And he just basically, verbally bitch slaps Vernon and Petunia for mistreating Harry for years. And it's like, if you want to go the comedy route for this film, that is just sitting there for you to adapt. That would have been a brilliant comedic scene.
Was it with the fourth film we don't get the Dursleys as much anymore?
Yeah, they're in Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. They were just starting to write them out at this point.
Because versus like in the books, they're still very prominently, that's like the iconic way to open the book.
Right.
Yeah. And I actually enjoyed those in the movies too, like seeing that interaction. I think that in the movies it would have added, if nobody read the books before and just strictly the movies, I think up to this point people would have appreciated seeing that as a redemption against them, right? Like I think that would have been pretty powerful for a lot of the viewers.
And it would have been funny. And it just doesn't make sense to me that they wanted to make this a comedy that is a very comedic opening to the book. It was sitting right there and they didn't use it. I don't know why. And instead we get this completely illogical thing. Harry is wandering around the London tube system. But this doesn't even make sense because a major plot point hinges on the idea Harry is at serious risk of being killed if he leaves any area that is not protected by magic, right? Privet Drive, as long as Harry calls it home, he has protection because of his mother's sacrifice, right? The Burrow, and much more prominently Hogwarts, have like really serious levels of magical protection on them. So as long as he stays there, he's pretty much safe from harm from the attack of any Death Eater. Sirius got killed in the previous film because Voldemort managed to lure Harry away from Hogwarts. And Harry's just wandering around. Doesn't even live in London. That's the other part that doesn't make sense. The Dursleys live nowhere near London. They live 27 miles away from London.
Yeah, that was, I think, just a very conscious decision to just put a major city in the background, right?
I guess. Because, they have the Death Eaters attacking that bridge.
The Millennium Bridge?
Right. Which is referenced in the book, by the way.
But even at showing that and making it such a large focal point and contribution to the movie, they don't really expand upon it, right? Like, that was it. Oh, let's just have the setting, let's make it a big deal, but then that's it. Like, nothing was ever said about it, right? Like, there was no other interventions or extrapolated story that was gained from that by altering so much to have that such a focal point.
No explanation for why Harry's in London either. No Dobby.
No Dobby. No Creature.
No Creature. I would argue the case you probably should have featured them in maybe one scene. Because, in the next film, Dobby just randomly pops up at Malfoy Manor. And if you're not a serious Harry Potter fan, I doubt you're going to remember him.
Well, it's just good continuity as part of the universe building to just have those scenes, because it breathes more life into the loss that Harry feels, right?
Yeah, especially with Creature.
Yeah, but you don't get that, so you lose a lot of the emotional depth that you get with Harry's character in the books. You have to take a lot of his emotions at face value. So good acting on Radcliffe's part, but not great. It's not great what's being given to him from a screenplay perspective.
We're really drilling in now. I hated that Luna is the one that finds Harry on the train. It doesn't make sense. What is she doing there? It makes way more sense for Tonks to have found him because the Order of the Phoenix is running protection detail.
I had a crush on Tonks in high school.
Okay.
Yeah. She was kind of edgy.
Yeah, a little punk thing going on. Yep.
Yeah. That was my crush, and I remember.
So Lupin, he was like your hero.
Oh, yeah.
It's fair. I gotta say, Draco's mother in her younger years, looker.
Yeah.
You could see it. Yeah. Narcissa.
Yeah.
Bellatrix could use a toothbrush.
She's a 10.
After what did she spend 15 years in Azkaban though? I mean that puts some miles on you.
Sure, she smells terrible.
I don't think personal hygiene is high on the priority list for her.
Yeah, because look what Kakarov, or what was I'm drawing a blank on the name. The Russian prisoner. Yeah, Igor Kakarov, right? Yeah,
Prisoner or
well, he got out. Yeah,
well, he never went to Azkaban because he named names.
that's right. Well, no, wasn't he in the? Well, or he was in the jumpsuit. No.
Oh, maybe he was in Azkaban like briefly after he got arrested, but he got it like a suspended sentence.
Yeah, but he needed a toothbrush too. Like he was worse, I think.
Yeah,
that was rough.
The headmaster of Durmstrang.
Yeah,
Anton, we got to do the real Harry Potter trivia,
like the hardcore.
Yeah, the
Harry
a trivia episode, maybe for the Patreon.
That'd
Jake,
be fun.
would you be interested in that?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
We could have T Sizzle on too, maybe.
Ooh,
if he shows up, you know.
I was gonna say if T Sizzle shows up.
Yeah, who knows?
Calling you out.
I wrote down Dumbledore asking Harry about his feelings for Hermione. Just like felt like a middle finger to the fans.
That's absolutely for Twilight fans.
Yeah.
So I had to confirm because I thought I was going crazy, and it was yes. For a brief period of time, he was in there before he started naming names.
Karkaroff.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Not long though, right?
No. Brief stint in the joint.
The joint.
In the clink.
Oh, Azkaban. So there's a plot point in this film about the multiple attempts on Dumbledore's life. It's never, no one seems interested in solving it, and it's never explained why. My wife asked this because my wife hasn't read the books. So watching these films with her, especially the latter films, is really funny because I can live vicariously through her about how little they explain in these latter films. She's like, are they going to like try to figure out who's trying to kill Dumbledore? I'm like, no, they're not.
No.
That's perfect for the perspective of how much of this film really is just made for people that read the books.
And we talked about this the last couple Potter episodes, Anton. And by this point, they were like, screw it. It's going to make $900 million. We don't have to explain any of this.
What sucks, though, is like it really is a bit of yes and no. It is for people who read the books because they have extra context, but there's a lot of it that would actually really befuddles people that read the books. So kind of both.
It's almost like you can kind of like, I don't know the exact, if there's actually a phrase for it, but it's similar to like the fog of war, right? Where if you just watch the movies, because they're theatrical enough and there's a lot going on, people don't necessarily always question, wait, what about this? What about that? Whereas like if you do know the books and then watch the movies, it's like, wait a minute, this is completely different, but at least, okay, I know how they got from point A to point C, you know, like from just watching B, right? Like, so because of such a pinpoint on just the, you know, if you're talking about people not reading the books and just watching the movie, they have that fog where they don't necessarily care and or question, especially upon first watching for the first time. They're not going to question what's happening to lead up to that, and then what happened in the interim when you saw that character next, or the next big event of that character. They're just going to be like, oh, just keep my attention. It's not boring.
Yeah, I think you're right. Unfortunately, I still think that, I mean, well, the next point, I mean, here's the next point. This is where it gets bad. The attack on the Burrow. I think it's the worst thing in the entire series.
Cheesy.
It's not just cheesy. It doesn't make sense. And it was very clearly like a studio note, right? Like, well, this film's kind of slow. You got to put it in an action sequence. Never mind the fact that they have this in the film, but they don't have the Battle of Hogwarts at the end.
No.
They completely just omit that. But this really does create a plot hole. Why doesn't it happen again? This film insinuates that Voldemort at any point could just attack the Burrow. He wants Harry Potter dead. If Bellatrix and the other Death Eaters are able to attack it, why doesn't Voldemort show up there? It's completely disconnected from the rest of the film. It doesn't escalate anything. There's no consequences. It's pure filler. And also, we see the Burrow intact in the next film.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess they...
And plywood.
Put out the fire. Did you see Lupin trying to, like, put out the fire, too? It's like, just use magic. Like, you can shoot water out of your wand. Like, just use magic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially that. That's a huge plot hole. Like, Wait,
It,
why?
it makes no sense.
Like, even in all the other movies, right? Like, especially which one it is now. But when they're in the Burrow, like they're in the kitchen and they have, you know, the plates are cleaning themselves and like all this stuff is automated via magic, and no, he's just putting out the fire. I mean, he might as well just start spitting on it at that point. I mean,
I honestly just skip this scene whenever I watch this film because it is completely disconnected from the rest of the film. It's never brought up again. Like, hey, remember when the Death Eaters burned down our house? Never mentioned again.
Pretty traumatic.
yeah, you think they had insurance?
His dad probably had insurance through the ministry.
True.
Okay. This other part too. So we can get into like the actual Half-Blood Prince stuff because this film is called Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
This is probably the most egregious thing, right?
Just go.
So, who is this Half-Blood Prince, and how big of a deal is he really?
In the book, it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
It's a defining character moment for Harry. In this film,
In this film,
it has no consequence on the plot whatsoever.
to me, it's the equivalent of completely changing the meaning of the book by having Will Smith just say, "I'm a legend" at the end of that film.
Yeah, you're right.
It's ridiculous.
All we get is the end of the movie, Snape saying, "You dare use my own spell against me? I am the Half-Blood Prince." And then he just walks away. That's it.
It's just empty.
Jake, if you remove the Half-Blood Prince from that potions book that he finds in the cupboard, nothing about this film changes.
No, at all. Because it was like the least amount of focus when it should have been the largest.
And again, I brought this up before, how there's no tension in this film. They could have generated tension here. Remember fairly early on in the book, when Snape overhears from Slughorn that like Harry's the best potion student he's ever seen in like years, and Snape gets really suspicious. And when you're reading the book, you're like, oh shit, Snape's gonna like catch on to this. And then when he uses Sectum Sempra against Malfoy, Snape confronts him. He's like, give me your potions book. Let me see it. This doesn't happen in the film. Also, the Sectum Sempra scene also is never brought up again. The fact that Harry and Draco basically have a gunfight in one of the school's bathrooms, it's never mentioned again.
No.
Other than Ginny's just like, you got to get rid of that book.
Yep.
Let's take you up to the room of requirement. We can do stuff.
My
boy, imagine what goes on in that room.
It's a very convenient room.
Yeah,
it sure is.
Whatever you need it for.
Also, by the way, that is why Harry can't see him on the Marauders map, right? Aren't you invisible from that when you're in the room of requirement?
It is invisible from the Marauders map.
Yeah. Yeah.
The film also doesn't develop that plot point at all. In the book, Harry's like, towards the end, he's like, we need to watch Malfoy. He's up to something. That sets up the whole battle for Hogwarts. Because remember, Hermione, Ron, Ginny, and the rest of the remnants of Dumbledore's army, like Harry tells them, like, prepare, like something's going to go down tonight. Like, make sure you're ready.
Yeah.
Again, with the tension, this film, all this stuff was just waiting for them to use in the book, and they didn't.
No.
Yeah. Basically, like, clean your muskets. It's about to go down.
The point you were getting to, the one thing that was unforgivable to me, which is maybe the most consequential thing in the book, is Harry learning that it was Snape who informed Voldemort of the prophecy about him, which led to the murder of Harry's parents. It is this monumentally important character development point for Harry in the books. He already hated and distrusted Snape before he learned that, and that sets him over the edge to the point where he doesn't even want to hear anything Dumbledore has to say. Remember, he's just shouting at Dumbledore about it, and Dumbledore's like, no, I trust him. And Harry's beside himself. If there's anything I wish they had included in this film, it was that. Because again, it makes the end of the movie so less meaningful. When Harry's chasing Snape down, he is legitimately trying to kill him.
But I find that, again, this should have been such an emotional core for the movies as much as it is for the books. And it really did trade a lot of that for just moving the series, a very safe film that moves the series along.
Filler. This is just pure filler.
Well, that, and they made the conscious decision to change the dynamic of all the feelings to what we mentioned earlier, that rom-com type of feel. Like they focused more on that than huge developing scenes like this.
They never explained the Half-Blood Prince nickname. Never elaborated on.
Nope.
Much more. It's much more poetic in the book.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense in the book.
Yeah, Snape's he's very cunning.
I gotta say too, I think it gets lost in translation over the years. But do you guys remember when you first finished reading The Half-Blood Prince? It is like one of the all-time cliffhangers. What went through all of our minds when Snape murders Dumbledore?
Mm-hmm.
And that's essentially how the book ends.
It's pretty. A couple things that I remember from that year, or at least, yeah, even when the book released, I remember it was the talk of the town. But then I remember like a lot of people also got spoiled on 4chan, like the end of the book, and like that had like kind of fast tracked a lot of people finding out about it. So that was just kind of funny.
Huh,
So a little segue.
Well, fortunately, I didn't read that. It wasn't spoiled for me.
Mm-mm.
But like, just what an all-time cliffhanger.
Yeah, it was done well. It was definitely really
The whole, because you're like, holy shit. You're like, the whole time?
yeah.
The whole time Dumbledore was wrong about him?
Yep. Yeah.
And then that one chapter of Snape's memory in Deathly Hallows, you're like, what? Like, and it's just like the memory dump. You're like, oh my gosh.
It really does set you up for just a very crazy jump into the Deathly Hallows. But
Yeah.
it's
So
just
this film doesn't do that.
But this film doesn't
No.
do that.
We get the stupid scene of the Death Eaters burning down the Burrow. We don't get Dumbledore's funeral. That's another opportunity to bring in all these characters. I don't like how they even do Felix Felicis. It's just like water in this. And if you remember the description of it from the book, I wrote it down. It was the color of molten gold, and large drops leapt like goldfish from its surface, never spilling. It's such a cinematic description. It's like, it would have been perfect to just use in the film. It's like, I guess I'm really nitpicking at this point.
It didn't fit the ever wanting palette of feces.
I guess you're right.
Right.
It wouldn't
look good on the poop lens.
Yeah, it wouldn't look good. No.
They could have made it look like urine. I digress.
And I have to say about the Felix Felicis, while it is very funny, the scenes in this film, it sort of treats it like ecstasy,
Mm-hmm.
which is it's not really like that in the book. It gives him this incredible confidence. Whatever. We're really getting into it now. It's just like whatever. It's funny. There is a good line in the book too. I think Dumbledore says about having taken it only recreationally, which is a great little.
Sounds like book Dumbledore too.
Yeah, exactly. Right. We don't get the other minister thing. That's fine. That would have been really weird to put that in the film. I get why they didn't do it.
Yeah.
With Fudge meeting other minister.
It would have been funny to see, like, remember the Margaret Thatcher impersonator in For Your Eyes Only?
Yeah.
It was John Major.
I'm sure they're going to include it in the series.
I hope so.
Yeah, and I think it'll be, because I actually really do love like this melding, because the whole, with the war going on, it really is blurring the lines between the Wizarding world and the Muggle world.
Right.
And this film doesn't really capture that.
No. That's what I meant earlier about the tension. Voldemort is at full power in this film, and you would have no idea.
Yeah. Like we discussed it earlier. Like, why wasn't he at the Burrow attack?
The Dementors have already flipped.
Yeah. It's just genuinely bad storytelling. And then the last reason why it wasn't better, I mean, we've been saving the best for last, or the worst for last in this case. The Voldemort backstory and the Horcrux investigation, which is easily the most interesting thing about the book. It's like a detective story, the book.
They try to shove it into the last two films.
They do, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Clumsily, I think.
Yeah, because they didn't set it up properly with this film.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
yeah,
I want to hear both your thoughts on this. There are, I think, 6 or 7 memories that get visited in the book. Obviously, you can't do all of them in the film. I get that. They only have 2 here, which is Dumbledore meeting young Tom Riddle at the orphanage.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Michael Gambon looks ridiculous in that. They should have just used a younger actor. That's beside the point. And then the most important memory, arguably, Slughorn tampering with his own memory where he tells teenage Riddle about Horcruxes. We needed at least one more. My pick, if you're going to include one more, I understand why they wouldn't do the House of Gaunt thing. That's really a deep cut.
That's a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot. But the Hepzibah Smith memory, where young post Hogwarts graduation Tom Riddle is working for Borgin and Burkes. He is visiting this old lady. She has the Hufflepuff cup and Slytherin's locket. He ends up killing her, framing her house elf, stealing it. I think it's hugely important for the next film.
It also would have looked insane on screen.
It would have been great.
Yeah. And it would have, like you said, it would have made more sense of the next films too, right? Like it just would have added at least some segue and cohesiveness between them. And like, yeah, we're still, the Horcruxes are still very important. That's why we're now doing this based off of the information, but it's just like,
They set up the Horcruxes for the next film, but I would say barely. They do the bare minimum here. They give it like lip service. That memory establishes Voldemort's fixation on like historical objects. It shows that he's not using, because anything could be a Horcrux, right? That's Harry even asked Dumbledore that. He's like, how could we find these things? It could be anything. And Dumbledore, because of this memory specifically, we know Voldemort is picking not random objects, but very historically important artifacts. None of this is set up for the following film.
I think on a side note, a fun segment suddenly becomes taking characters from future larger films that we cover and then figuring out what their Horcruxes would be.
That could get dark.
What would Horcruxes for Glenn Close's character in Fatal Attraction?
What would it be?
Well, one would probably be like a gift card to Petco.
Something from Madame Butterfly.
Yes, exactly. It would be one of those. It would specifically be like what is it? Those pamphlets that you get at every Broadway play.
A playbook.
Yeah, the playbill.
If it was the movie Inception, Leonardo DiCaprio would use like the spinning top.
That would be.
Like, it's also a Horcrux, just in case they die.
Yeah.
You think Jane Fonda would be Warren Beatty's?
Oh,
A living Horcrux.
a living Horcrux. Well, you could do it, as we know. Nagini, the snake, is a Horcrux.
Yep.
Yeah. Gosh.
But all joking aside, though, this film completely fails to set up this stuff up for Deathly Hallows. Voldemort gives them nothing to go on. And if you watch this back to back with the first Deathly Hallows, they are wandering around the English countryside just doing guesswork. They have the locket to go on, and that's it.
Yep. They really added too much focus on things just happening by dumb luck in the movies. That's what they're like, no, let's just make it seem like this.
It does make sense then. Part 2, everything happens super fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, it's like rapid fire. Would you have included any of the other memories? Do any of the other ones stand out to you?
Well, I mean, we said the one, as important as it would just be too much.
House of Gaunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I guess, what's the other memory? Isn't it from Morphin? It shows how Voldemort murdered his Muggle family and then framed Morphin for it. Like, I get why you don't have to include that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure, it would have been great to have more, but yeah, if you're from just the, limited time for a movie.
Right.
I think what we just mentioned would, in my opinion, is super important. I think that needed to be almost.
I would have wanted to see the scene where Voldemort visits Dumbledore at Hogwarts to, ostensibly request to get the appointment of Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Because, you get to see that. This has never been seen on film. When Voldemort is not yet his fully formed Voldemort appearance, but he's like in between handsome Riddle and,
noseless.
Red eye. Yeah. The red eye snake-like appearance. That would have been cool to see on film, I think.
Yeah.
Again, I get why they omitted that. By the way, not a single scene of Snape teaching Defense Against the Dark Arts. Kind of disappointing.
And it's finally a pretty big deal in the books.
It's a huge deal in the books. Like, he finally gets the job that he wanted. We don't say it.
It's a shame.
Yeah,
It's almost like they forgot what they wrote in the movies before, and they're only referencing what they wrote in the movies. And they just forget, like, oh, wait, we talked about this in our other movie. Like, regardless of the books, right? Like, forget the books. It's like they forget what they were writing about in the previous movies, but yet still wanted to make them work together. It's sort of baffling.
It really is, because one of the last things I wanted to talk about is the two flashbacks, the two memories, right, that we get. I think, completely misunderstand the source material, which is exactly where you're going with this, Jake. So the first one, we get a ridiculous-looking Michael Gambon as younger Dumbledore visiting 11-year-old Tom Riddle in the orphanage. And they handle him like he's Damien from The Omen. This pissed me off so much rewatching this. It's a terrible portrayal. He's not supposed to be a horror movie kid.
Yeah, no.
He's even speaking like a horror movie kid. He's like, I can make them hurt if I want to. Fundamentally, not how Riddlers should be portrayed. He's not supposed to be creepy.
Yeah. Do you think that was... So, yes, definitely the way that the screenplay was written. But do you think that it was also how the actor portrayed it? Like, do you think that he just wanted to be overly creepy and they're like, yes, go with that? Sort of.
I think that's probably how he was instructed. They were probably like, "Oh, Voldemort's scary. Just be scary."
Yeah, like he didn't have a full interpretation.
I think that's a lot of direction for how to portray that.
Yeah, instead of just be like, be as normal as you can be, despite yes, you're an orphan, but still, be normal. They just went with, you hate the world and you're already evil.
Yeah, I was reading about how good directors can properly direct actors through being able to set motivation. I don't think that happened here.
No, it just falls back on like, what we've been saying, the source material. It's like they didn't know, and they're just like, well, he's a bad guy. Just act like a young bad guy.
Act like you would be like a creepy kid.
Yeah.
It actually would have required some pretty sophisticated acting from a kid,
right.
Because if you recall how the sequence plays out in the book, he thinks Dumbledore is some kind of like doctor at first. He tries to boss him around. He tries to intimidate him like he does with everybody else. He realizes it's not going to work. Then Dumbledore tells him that he's actually a wizard. He's still kind of rude to him. But once he realizes that Dumbledore can't be intimidated, he totally switches it up and he becomes polite, charming, a little charismatic. He tries to, charm him. He tries to impress him a little bit. Like, oh, all this stuff I can do with magic. When he tells him I can hurt people, he's doing it not to sound creepy. He's doing it. He's trying to impress Dumbledore. He thinks that it'll impress him.
There's a layer to it that from the books you interpret it that Riddle he's a bit naive, but at the same time, like, it's pretty nefarious.
Yes. He learns a lot from that interaction with Dumbledore because for the rest of his time at Hogwarts, everybody else likes him. All the teachers like him. He's popular with students.
He's a serial killer, basically.
Completely. He can be socially brilliant when he wants to be. He can be charming. He can be charismatic.
Sociopath, yep.
Sociopath, but also he is charismatic enough where he gets the forerunners of what would become the Death Eaters to like join his gang essentially in the school. But he's able to hide it from all the professors. Remember, he becomes a prefect. He becomes head boy. He's arguably the most brilliant student that Hogwarts has ever seen. You don't even see that in the flashback with Slughorn. He's just this creepy guy again.
Yeah.
He's like, sir, I was in the library. I came across this book. It's just
an interesting piece of literature.
I know we're really picking nits at this point. It's just so lazy. Like they just could have done so much more with this. These scenes should be far more interesting than they are.
But I mean, look, to do more takes more work. I don't think they wanted to put in that much work.
No, definitely not. They gave this 2 seconds of thought to what Jake was talking about earlier. It's like, was it the actor's choice or were they were directed? I'm sure they were just like, well, Voldemort's scary. Just be creepy.
Yeah.
Yep. Funny enough, I went back and I watched the scenes from Chamber of Secrets. They did get that right performance out of Diary Riddle in that film. If you remember when Harry first meets him and you see him in the flashback, he is charming.
Mm-hmm.
He is charismatic. He is really polite. He's this handsome guy. You can understand, oh, that's why all the teachers liked him. So they did do that correctly previously in the series. I think they were putting a lot more work and thought into that point in the film. That was only the second film.
Well, and it's like I was saying, like, I feel like they didn't even reference what they've done before. If they forget about the books, if they just wanted to be like, okay, we get the general idea, let's just continue the movie series and make it work as sort of close to the books, but yet they forget what they did in the other screenplays.
Just wow, what a disappointment this film is.
Especially to be touted as like everybody says that this one's the best.
I don't think Harry Potter fans do. I'll bet you non-fans like this a lot. Because I bet you non-fans are like, oh, it's so funny with the rom-com stuff. And it's funny. It is. But
it is funny. There's some there are set pieces that are very memorable for how, again, seeing scenes from the book in the film. I'd say they get it stylistically pretty cool. But I don't know. There's just too much here that's just not worth praising.
Ratings then?
All right. Let's go in.
Jake, as the guest, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. Usually because I love the books and the movies are great. They all have had their quirks and inconsistencies with the plot and everything. But book standpoint, this one fantastic. Half-Blood Prince, great. It's needed for so many reasons, and it sets up so much stuff that happens. But from a movie standpoint, sure, it's theatrical. It has the funny elements, different than the funny elements that were in the previous ones. In some spots, maybe trying a little bit too hard with the comedy, but with how much was needed for the movie to make sense and to carry the torch to the Deathly Hallows, it definitely falls short. There was just way too much that was left out, and for the viewer to maybe pick up if they cared enough. I think they were just purely going off of, okay, let's make it as theatrical and entertaining as possible for money, and let's not care too much about being cohesive with how everything else in the story needs to go. And they picked and chose what scenes and what areas they wanted to look at, but I'm gonna have to go with a B on this one.
A B?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It just doesn't do it for me like the other ones did. It just, comparing to the earlier ones, the other ones were just so great. This one definitely fell off a little bit.
Jeez, I'm gonna be real negative here, boy.
You're going lower.
I'll just go.
Okay. Go.
Okay. I'm a little torn on this because there are plenty of things I like. I do find this watchable. By this point in the series, I think the principals were thriving. The lead actors in here really are phenomenal. Daniel Radcliffe in particular. I think it's my favorite performance of his in the series. Rest of the leads, I feel the same. They're great. The newcomer, Jim Broadbent, a huge highlight. We get more Tom Felton. That's great. The humor here is genuinely brilliant. I think this works really well as a comedy. But should it have been a comedy, I would say very much no. And I think as an adaptation of the novel, they absolutely butchered this. They omitted a lot of stuff that would have made this a stronger Harry Potter film. They included a lot of admittedly funny, but ultimately pointless stuff that made this a weaker Harry Potter film. They made wrong storytelling choice after wrong storytelling choice. Much of the book's central mystery, which is, a very careful detective investigation into Voldemort's history and the clues that set up the finale for the series, as well as the titular Half-Blood Prince, are dramatically reduced or omitted altogether. What was once the narrative backbone of the story becomes an afterthought. I think the end result is a frustrating exercise in mediocrity, and I actually don't even think this is an average film. The changes that they chose to make did not serve the larger Harry Potter saga well. It's a tonal mismatch. It leans heavily into atmosphere. I mean, it is arguably the most visually stylized entry in the series, and I cannot stand how it looks. This is the best argument for why you would want the upcoming TV series. This is a C- for me, and I think I'm being kind. I think there's a lot of, frankly, just bad stuff in this film.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, there's too much negative in this, and I really stand by I have to separate the book and being able to adapt a book into film and wanting to really give the benefit of the doubt for the director on how to really translate things into a different medium. I think this is just an example where it's a really good example of how bad it can get. And I feel so dissatisfied, not only as a Harry Potter fan, but also just as a film fan. It stinks because I do know what I'm missing out on, but I have to always check myself when watching this film because it really is just such a disservice to the series as a whole. But then as an individual film, there's so much missing with the context, with the character motivation, with emotional core, with just characterization of characters that is just confusing, mishandled, whatever you want to say. It's just bad. I think that all of those negatives really do draw me on, again, on just more of the, how do I put it? It puts me more on the poop colored brown scale of things. And I really do rate this a bit lower. I find it one of the most, like, I think the most disappointing of the series. For me, this one's actually, I rate this slightly lower than you, Pat, but it is, for me, this is a D plus.
I get it. This was hugely disappointing to rewatch. Definitely my least favorite in the series.
Yeah,
Well,
not a fan.
Jake, kind in your rating. That's okay.
I
It's your rating.
was very kind.
That's good.
I was very kind.
Well, that's it for Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. That is it for season 10. Jake,
Wow.
great having you on for some Potter talk.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. It's always a pleasure. I love it.
Can't wait to have you back.
Look forward to it.
For
Thank you.
more Harry Potter, maybe other things.
Maybe for
Absolutely.
other things.
We do cover other films, as you know, like Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah.
Yes. That was
Maybe
fun.
Interview with the Vampire 2.
Queen of the Damned.
Yeah.
Oh,
I actually
that was.
never want to see that again, so I don't want to cover that
What was
film.
it? Aaliyah.
Oh, yeah, it's Aaliyah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that, what's that cut rate Johnny Depp guy?
That, I forget his name.
He was,
That was-
going to play Aragorn.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name because why would you?
Right. I mean, that's
Stuart Townsend is his name. I remembered it anyway.
That was definitely a movie that was made.
Anything other than an F, I would question from you, Jake, on that one. That is, God, that was awful.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I finished that.
I mean, especially to follow the first movie and to follow the books to make it bad. It's just, what? Why?
There was a lot of
Horrific.
There was a lot. I think a lot of behind the scenes malarkey going on for that production.
I'm sure.
That movie itself, its being, is the horror.
Yeah, that's fair. That's good. That's a good way to put it.
It's terrifying for reasons you don't think. But anyway, yeah, that's it for season 10. We're going to have a recap episode, as we always do, in the next coming days. And that is it for this edition of Why Wasn't It Better? Thanks for listening, and see you next time.